Hello, hello, hello. What's up? What's up? It's great to see everybody's here. I really appreciate your time, and um, this is really good because this would going to give you foundation about real estate wholesalers and which part of cold calling um, or where does the cold calling comes in the part of the operations of the wholesalers. Okay, so welcome once again to Mr. VA Coach. Right now, we'll be discussing about real estate wholesalers, cold calling, VA training. Now, we're first going to discuss about the process and the foundation of wholesalers, the real estate wholesalers, and then this is really important so that for you to become an effective cold caller for the wholesalers or real estate. And typically, wholesalers hire cold callers in the Philippines doing cold calling. And these cold callers, I am also a cold caller. So you'll be earning at least uh, 27 to 37 a month or 100 or plus more a month. Then we got VAs right here earning 100 plus, six digits already. And we got also like 60 or 70, 40, 50 depends, excluding bonuses and incentives. So again, my name is Dre Samyan. For now, I'm the only one who's doing the coaching and training of Mr. VA Coach, but eventually we'll be having more trainers. Um, okay, so we'll be discussing real estate wholesalers in the U.S. mainly, but they're almost the same. The process and strategy, either Canada or U.S. I've heard a little bit also the same with Australia and New Zealand, but let's gonna focus only on the USA. Okay, now let's talk about the module one. This module one is free for now, so I need you to make sure to stay focused and please make sure your cell phone is either turned off or in silent, and then make sure you got a pen and a piece of paper. So, introduction to real estate wholesaling. What is wholesaling? What is real estate wholesaling? Real estate wholesaling is actually a strategy where a person or the wholesaler finds a property they think an investor or the buyer might want to buy. Typically, typically one of that is either bad shape or low price or ugly look or they call it distress. Simple as that, guys. So that is simple as that. Let's make things simpler and easier to understand. Okay. So why does this happening? Why people are doing this? Because instead of wholesalers, instead of buying the property, the wholesaler actually makes a deal with the property owner, and then they put in a contract or under contract. Here in the Philippines, we call it SPA. So that's very common right here. Then the wholesaler they find the buyer for the seller. So usually in the US, they call it investors or investor. Those people are willing to buy the contract and a higher price, of course, because if you are, or them as a wholesaler, they already have a price difference. They jack it up a little bit. So the price is at a higher compared to the original one. Now now the wholesalers earns money from difference in the price, and that's where their sales is. So I hope everybody got it. And if in case you have questions, I need you guys to write it down. And then after the whole presentation or discussion, then you can shoot me everything right there. And we have a Q&A portion actually. Okay. So why do people do wholesale real estate, especially in the US? Of course, they got four common reasons. It's low cost. It helps people sell fast. It connects investors with good deals. So investors are the buyers, so it helps them. find better deals or better price, lower price, and they can either upgrade, renovate, or they call it flip, and they can sell it with a profit still. And of course, it would build real estate. It builds real estate experience. So let's go back again. Number one. So why it's low cost? Of course, it's low cost because it's like a direct buy. You're buying it directly from the owner, and the owner don't need to pay you as like an agent or brokers. They don't need to pay the wholesaler. The wholesaler's needs is just to have a deal, a signed agreement, a contract. So it's low cost for the seller side, and it's good for the wholesalers or the um, um, the client. What I mean is in a VA standpoint. So the wholesaler side, it's good for him too because it's business, right? Now it connects investors with good deals because investors they would always look for people who find deals, or like a marketer or the middle person that does all the efforts and works to find good deals, and they're willing to pay the price for that or to buy it because they understand that it's not easy to find good properties to buy. So it helps. It is low cost. It helps people sell fast. It connects investors with good deals, right? Because investors they want easier way of finding the properties, because most investors are the people who have money and they don't want to put all the effort just for them to do business. So it's better for them to focus on making their business grow. So they just have to fund it or willing to pay the price as long they can still make money out of it. It builds real estate experience. Now, wholesaling is a way to make money and learn the real estate business without big financial risk. It's because you don't need to, it doesn't require to have a lot of money like capital. All you have to do is just find sellers or property owners that don't want the property anymore, wanted to get rid of that. And all those, there's a lot of reasons why they don't want the property anymore. So it builds real estate experience. So connecting the buyers, connecting to sellers, and of course, as a wholesaler, you can have the experience in the real estate industry. So that's what it means right there. Let's go to the next step in the wholesaling process. Let's talk about the steps, okay? First one is finding deals. Now, the first step in wholesaling is to find properties that are good ones, or they call it good deals. Of course, wholesalers look for properties that are undervalued or owned by motivated sellers. Why it's motivated? Because they wanted to get rid of that property. They are really motivated to let it go, to sell it out, to sell it quickly. Sometimes they wanted to like it's yesterday because either they experience foreclosure because they have it in loan. Um, their maintenance is kind of big. The mower, the fence needs to repaint. Because in the U.S., guys, there is violation if your property doesn't look good. So the maintenance, of course, the tax, you're gonna pay that, right? So many financial related problems that they're willing. So that's why they want to get rid of the property. So as a wholesaler, so it's your job to find those deals. So you're gonna find vacant properties, there's nobody living and probably looks old and distressed, or it's not being maintained anymore. So you can assume that the owner of that property might be having headache of the expenses or maintenance. So let's go to the next slide. The number two steps. step. You have to secure the contract, of course. Once you find the prospect seller, the owner of the property, you gotta reach out. You gotta make sure you negotiate. You offer the best price that you can, the best price that you can offer that would make the seller think it's fair and just or reasonable enough and enticing for them. So, once the wholesaler finds the property they believe the buyer or investor would be interested in, they work with the property owner to negotiate price and, of course, sign the contract, the most important one. They may have agreed both the seller and the wholesaler, the property owner and the wholesaler, but if they don't have the document written, it's nothing. They don't have proof. So this signing contracts um, gives the wholesaler the right to buy the property at the agreed price. So again, it's like the SPA right here in the Philippines, but a little bit there's a little bit difference, but it's almost like okay. So let's go to step three. Once the wholesaler was able to sign the contract agreement with the property owner, and that the property owner were going to accept the payment of $800,000 or $1 million, then it's gonna be the wholesaler's job now to find a buyer and put up a little bit, or probably 5 grand or 10 grand or 50 grand, or depends on the wholesaler how much he would like to put up a jack up right there or marked up for him to sell it to the investor or the buyer side. So the wholesaler then sells that contract to the buyer, of course, for a fee. So either the wholesaler will going to sell at the same price asking by the seller, and then just tell the buyer or the investor that, hey, Mr. Investor, I got this good deal. All I ask in return is just 10 grand. That's it. This is all yours. Do whatever you want. So it's either that way, or they're gonna um, put it in, jack it up right there, and then the wholesaler was going to do all the process. So that's where the profit of the wholesalers, guys. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. So I need you to imagine first. Imagine you have a house worth of 100, and the owner agrees to sell it to you for $80,000. So 100,000 worth, but the owner agreed to sell it to 80,000 only because they need to sell it quickly. They badly need the money. So you can have a signed contract with the seller. Then you can find investor or buyers who's willing to buy it for either 85 or maybe 90. So still the buyer can still have profit if they want to resell it without doing anything right there. But don't forget, buyers are investors. They probably gonna flip it or upgrade or renovate and do something right there so they can sell it in a higher price. So the difference right there then is their profit, their of course their revenue. So let's take a look at the like a map right here. So first thing is find a good property deal, get it contract, and sell the contract to another buyer, to the investor for a profit. For you or for them as a wholesaler, that's how they make profit. All right. So let's go to the next slide. I hope everybody got the foundation, the process, what the wholesaler does right there. If in case we're gonna have the Q&A later, so make sure you write down your questions. Okay. Awesome. Perfect. So cold calling. Let's talk about the cold calling in the real estate wholesale. So cold calling is actually direct outreach. It's direct, of course, because you're reaching out directly to the owner, right? So it's crucial in the real estate wholesaling because for finding motivated sellers, people who are willing to sell their property quickly, often at a discount. I think everybody is aware, even here in the Philippines. If there are people who wants to sell their phone in a very cheap or lower price, it's because they badly need the money, right? I think it's a worldwide, you know, structure. If somebody is in need, they can't, like what they're saying, beggars can't choose, something like that. So let's talk about now cold calling. Okay, why cold calling matters in wholesaling? Why does it matter? So let's talk about this five reason why it matters. Number one, reaching sellers who aren't actively listing because uh, the the property owners, because of their busy life, they work here, they got businesses right here, they don't have time to have it list, to put it on the listings. And instead of that, they're gonna focus on making more money, which is working, doing the business, and because that's an extra work and energy for them. Aside from their paying the maintenance or the tax right there, it doesn't make sense to them, or it's not wise. It's not a wise decision for them if they're the ones going to put it on listing right there. So that's why it's an advantage. That's why cold calling does really matter, because if you're the ones reaching out to people, you'll be one step ahead of the game in the wholesaling competition. So number two, building a personal connection, because of course you'll be able to connect directly. So if you go to listing, if you go to internet, most of the time it's not really the owner that you'll be able to reach out to, even though it says for sale by owner, but most of them are actually agents already, or brokers. So that's why you have an advantage. Cold callers are really important in the wholesaling. It's not actually, it's not only in the wholesaling industry, but most businesses, or I want to say all businesses, wants leads. They badly need leads. And cold calling is one of the strategy. Still effective strategy and cost effective. Identifying motivation early. Why? Because you'll be able to identify, you as a cold caller, you'll be able to identify the seller, if it's really, if the seller is really motivated to sell the property, like the sound of their voice, the tone of their um, audio over the phone, and then of course you guys communicating, and you'll be able to build rapport right there, to build connection, and for you to be able to know, does this owner really wanted to sell the property, because you'll be able to find out the deeper information about the property. It might be ear from their parents, from their grandparents or something, or it could be uh, no longer earning and they keep on spending money for it. So you'll be able to identify the motivation level. Like motivation level, it may be hot, like wanted to sell the property like yesterday, or wanted to sell the property in 3 months from now, or maybe 6 months, or within 6 months. So that's why it matters. Standing out from the competition, like I said earlier, you'll be one step ahead of the game, because not all people doing cold calling, because we all know, or just in case you don't know, cold calling is kind of tough job. You'll be encountering every day, every now and then, or every calls, rejection, objection. I don't want to talk to you. Why are you calling me? So if you don't have the right mindset, you're gonna end up resigning, or you don't like, and you'll be ending up stopping the business. So Wholesalers are business people, but not all of them actually wants to do the cold calling part. So that's why they want to delegate it either to people out there in the US as a local, or they outsource it right here in the Philippines or other parts of the world who speaks fluent English, like Filipinos, like us. Control over lead quality. Yeah. Now, they said that cold calling still tough. It's not really good quality because when the seller says, "Yeah, I wanna sell the property. Um, give me the offer, the proposals. I want to hear you guys. Let me talk to your manager." But when they talk to the manager, their mind changed. Their mind got changed. So the decision just, you know, gone when talking about selling the property. So it's control over lead quality. So you'll be able to, qualify the lead because you'll be able to talk to the person who owns it, right? So that's why it's very important. Um, that's why that's why cold calling really matters in the wholesaling uh, business. So let's take a look at the picture, the flow. So you cold call them, you reach out to them, connect to them. Of course, you can establish trust because most people buy services or businesses or products is because they trust them. They trust the brand, they trust the person. It's everything in trust. And once you build the trust, of course, you'll be able to identify the leads if it's a good one, if it's wanted to sell the property like yesterday or in 2 months or in 3 months, or they having a lot of people needs to sign before the property will be contracted, and of course get profit once the deal is closed, once the contract was sold to the investor or buyers. It's a profitable deals, right? So that's simple. Now let's take a look at these type of lead generation. Take a look at the picture. All of these are lead generation now. Just in case lead generation word is brand new to you, lead generation from the word itself, lead generation, so the process of generating leads or prospects. That's lead generation. So there are four strategy: either cold calling, so that's direct and immediate personal connection, efficient filtering because it's cost effective at the same time. Direct mail, the snail mail. There are websites or businesses online that what they do is to send direct mail. It's kind of expensive actually because you as an investor, or I mean real estate wholesaler, you're gonna sign up with their fees and the tools and the people who runs it. So, and it's less personal because it's like in old days that you gotta no phone, no text. You have to send the mail, right? Online ads, it's super expensive because not all people who visit it and click your ads really the lead. So sometimes you got like tons of visitors of your ads, but it's 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 not yet accurately done on the internet or on the SEO side, so you'd be wasting a lot of money. Networking referrals, of course, when it's a high trust because you'll be able to talk face to face. You'll be able to reach out, handshake, and then um, share share your business and then talk to them sincerely. However, limited reach because it's not every day having networking events, right? And networking events is expensive at the same time. Unpredictable because people that's being referred to you not really 100%, and it's not permanent. So that's why unpredictable. So these are the types or different strategies, and the lead generation um, aspects or topic, guys, our goals. Okay, so let's talk about in summary. Cold calling is still an effective hands-on approach in the wholesaling because that allows you to quickly reach and qualify and connect with potential sellers. And you can also make it a strong method to finding the motivated leads right there because you have the ability to really, gauge and talk to the property owner and ask them questions, of course. All right. So we're done with the cold calling part of the wholesaling business in the US of A. So let's talk about the rules and responsibility. Uh, a little bit broken down. Let's have chunks about or chop. Let's chop the cold calling part. Okay, let's break it down. So these are the rules and responsibilities of a virtual assistant in wholesaling. Sorry, we might be tackling virtual assistant in wholesaling because there are different rules, different positions at the same times and roles. So um, just a disclaimer. What are the VA's roles and responsibilities in wholesaling? So there's lead generation VAs, um, follow up, yes, the part of the cold calling, follow up and nurturing leads, but most likely that's the job of the acquisition VA. Appointment setting, yeah, that's for the cold caller. Data management and CRM updates, sometimes cold calling does it, but most likely it's the acquisition and or the transaction coordinator. Market research and property analysis, that's also done by the acquisition. Document preparation and contract management, so that's actually a transaction coordinator. And administrative support could be admin VA or transaction coordinator. Building relationships and maintaining communications, so that can be done also with cold callers, but most likely that's that's usually under the acquisition or the transaction coordinator, or of course the wholesaler, the client themselves. Now, lead generation is actually the part like what we discussed earlier: finding deals, cold calling, screening, and qualifying leads. So that's really the first part, not only on wholesaling, not only in the real estate wholesaling, but most likely to different niches, different business right there. Because the VA searches for potential sellers through various sources, either online listings, database, or calling list, records to create a list of properties, then call them. But most clients, guys, or team, they actually provide their own calling list because that can save time rather than the cold callers who are going to find listings online, advertisement, something. It takes a lot of time. It's not efficient. Cold calling, like we discussed earlier, VAs are responsible of reaching out to property owners. So it's cold calling because these people don't know, and it's cold. Like if you have experience in the call center industry in the Philippines, there's this terminology in the operations when you transfer the customer to a different VA, different call center agent or a higher rank agent. If you transfer it directly without introducing the customer to the next agent, that's what we call cold transfer. It's because it's quick, no introduction, and then that's why it's being called that's why it's called cold. Now, warm transfer is when you formally and there's a proper relaying of communication, situation, and introduction at the same time. That's warm transfer. So, in my own understanding, that's why it's called cold calling because these people the property owners on the list, you call them. It's like you bash them, or gate crashing them. Sorry, gate crashing them during their work hours or their resting time or something. So that's why it's called calling. Okay. Now, cold calling. After that, when you reach out to them, you're gonna screening them and qualifying them. If they're really leads, or if there's a like cold leads, warm leads, or hot leads. So that's number one, lead generation. Let's go to number two, the follow up and nurturing leads. It's done mostly by the acquisition, consistent follow up calls, lead nurturing. Now, consistent follow up calls because the acquisition, they're the one, the acquisition VA, they are the ones going to do follow up calls on those leads that was set by the cold caller. Okay, so hope you guys are following me. So, follow up and nurturing leads, mostly done by the acquisition. And it goes something like this: I'm in a call and I'm going to start with this. Hey, Mark. Hi, Mark. This is Dre. You spoke to one of my associate the other day regarding your property 123 Main Street that you're interested to sell. Her name is Vivian. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I told her would like to dispose it because we're spending a lot of money and we would like to hear what you guys can offer and propose us. Yes, Mark. That's why I'm calling you. I'd like to know more about the property. What's the story behind it? And I want to, I want to visit it if possible, so that we can do our due diligence and give you the fair offer, and we can get it sold as as early as 7 days, as long as there's no problem. It's something like that, guys. Nurturing now, in this in the sales, in the phone sales process, business businesses or closing will make I mean, closing will happen on the either on the 12 on the 12 I mean, sorry, on the 7 or 12, 7 to 14 follow-ups. So you gotta have to nurture them. So you follow up with them, and then build rapport, like what we discussed earlier. Do Gotta do all your best. You gotta have to be all in, to win their trust, so that be able to nurture the relationship up to the point that you'll be able to have the property owner sign the contract. Because acquisition VA, the purpose of the acquisition VA is to have the lead sign the contract. Simple as that. So that's the number two, guys. Follow up. Appointment setting. Either, but most likely it's the co-caller's job to set appointment to talk to their manager to the acquisition, or sometimes acquisition does it if the seller wanted to, or if there's a need that the client, who is the wholesaler, business owner in the U.S., there's a necessary for them to talk to the seller, the property owner. So schedule appointment, manage the calendar either using Calendly or Google Calendar or any similar tools like that. Why it's important to manage the calendar, so that the client uh, will not gonna have multiple appointments same with exactly the same time. Okay, so that's one thing. That's number one thing, actually, why you need to have a scheduled calendar, or have a tools that can use for scheduling calendars or appointments. Data management and CRM updates. So there's this we call CRM. It's like customer relationship management or client relationship management. It's a tool on the website or on the browser. Sometimes there's an app that you can download on the computer, where you can put all the information: last name, phone number, email, addresses, property or company. So that's why it's easier for you to navigate or maneuver, who's the one that you need to call today, and who's the one you need to call later, and who's the one you need to call on Monday and next day and the yesterday or something. So that can help you managing the leads and nurturing also the leads, or when doing the follow up right there. So it's very important you be able to organize the lead data, categorize them if they're hot, warm, cold, or ghost or dead. Of course, you'll be able to track communication history because there is notes right there. It's very important as a cold caller or an acquisition VA, very, very important to put all the notes, whatever happened on the call. Put it right there so that the person who's going to do follow up next to you has basis and it still be streamlined communication. Number five. So let's go to number five. Market research and property analysis. Like comparison actually. Market research is, for example, I'm the acquisition and I talk to the seller, and the seller wants to have like a higher price than what I am offering. So what I do also before I'm gonna um give them the offer, the figure, the amount of the offer, we're gonna do our due diligence. So that's why basic market research is very important. Property analysis. So check the neighborhood, check the area, how much are the properties being sold, and how many rooms, how many toilet and bath. Is the property being maintained well or stress already? Have violations in liens or tax or mortgage? So you gotta have to do all the analysis right there. All in should be all in, so that there's also a lot of mistakes happen in this business, that when wholesalers offer higher amount of offer in the proposal because they weren't able to get all the necessary information, and they thought that it's that kind of price for that property is the fair one, but it's over actually priced. And of course, as a seller, it's your advantage. So you'll be able to take and accept the offer right away because you know that's very high, right? So this is that scenario is usually happening in this kind of game in the industry. Documentation, preparation, and contract management. So preparing documents, it's most likely done by transaction coordinator, or sometimes the acquisition are being trained. Depends on the wholesaler, depends on the client. If they're going to train the acquisition VA to do the document signing and sending and managing the contracts. But most likely, it's to send the contract to the seller, and before sending it, making sure putting the seller's correct name, address of the property, and the correct offer figure right there. Sending them and then tracking it. So that's how it is, guys. Document preparation and contract management. The administrative support, number seven, administrative support like email and communication management, task organization, report creation. So most admin, and sometimes these are done by acquisition or team leader. Back then, I'm a team leader, so I usually manage group of cold callers, two or three different wholesalers or clients. So I manage them. Um, their time is either central, Eastern, and Pacific. So they overlap around 2 hours, sometimes 2 hour and 1 hour. So what I do is to send email to the client, to our boss, um, email and communication management, but not really to the property owner, but to our clients. Task organization, make sure all the tasks are streamlined, and report creation, make sure the client or the wholesaler is always up to date to the progress and development. So that's why it's important. Communication is really important. Number eight, of course, building relationship and maintaining communication. What communication is really important. You have to at least once or twice a month to communicate to your client, um, or to your leads right there, to maintain professionalism and to maintain that relationship, like what they're saying, to keep the fire burning. And also for admin, they they actually do this too, to send constant communication to the property sellers and also to the prospect buyers. Now, in summary, the VA's virtual assistant's role in the real estate wholesale is actually making the wholesalers to focus on closing the deals, or focusing on what they do best, which is usually closing deals, like getting it sold. They're the ones really gonna focus on talking to the buyers, because these buyers and investors, they usually also ask for discount. They negotiate first before they buy the contract. So that's why it's very important that it's a wholesaler um, that does the selling part of the contract. Now, while the VA keeps the pipeline organized, or the VA is the one that helps to nurturing the leads, following up the leads, and ensure efficient communication and documentation. So yeah, that's it in a summary, um, team. So I hope you have now better and deeper understanding, the roles and responsibilities of those VAs who work in the real estate wholesalers niche or clients. Now, in the United States real estate market, let's have an overview. Property ownership is registered. Ownership records are kept mostly in public, but and in here we have the civil, no, not the civil, registry of deeds right here in the Philippines. But our registry of deeds is not actually online. It's not really the same in the US, that they call it public records. So which make it easier for them to research properties. Now, transactions are governed by contract. Like I said earlier, the transactions, it doesn't, if it's just a verbal agreement, that's not a deal. So there has to be um, a legally binding contract, a written contract that outline each terms, like the price, the condition, the terms and condition, and the deadlines. Also, most likely it's 90 days right there. So, or 3 months deadlines. Investors focus on the value. Investors or buyers, they really focus on the value, including not even investors or buyers, even the wholesalers, because seeking properties without potential for value appreciation is useless. What are you going to do business at all, right? If you buy low and you can sell a higher price, that's not business. So business, in short, is get a lower cost supply, sell it by the demand at a higher price. That's business. That's the definition of business. So no business at all, right? If there's no value appreciation. So that's why they're gonna target very low value property, distress or ugly look or not maintained, or probably medyo sira-sira na, mga ganun na marami pang gagastusin bago ma-sell ng higher price. So that's the overview right there. Now, there's also equity. Equity, um, equity is the difference between the current value, the current price of the property, and the amount, um, the amount owned in the loan, if it's loan. So for example, if property worth $200,000 and the owners owes 150 in the bank or on mortgage, so the owner has 50,000 in equity. So that's why here in the Philippines, when you buy um, property, they're gonna ask you for reservation first, then equity. Long time ago in the Philippines, when you buy a house, the equity is not divided into 24 months or 12 months or 3 months. 12 months or 3 years. Good thing I'm not so sure who are those senators who approved that law. Right now, once you reserve a property and you can start paying the equity by month. Now, after 2 years or 3 years, then that's the time you can process loan in the bank. So the equity right there. Another example also is when you're done with your equity and then you're here in the Philippines. I'm just gonna make it more, elaborated. So here in the Philippines, you buy property worth 1 million and you have it loan in the bank and you're paying it monthly for, let's say, 20 years. And if you're gonna sell it, you can sell it like 1.8. So the profit right there is your equity. That's how most millionaires are building their profit. So other way around, both are good. Okay. Why it matters? Equity indicates the owner's financial stake in the property. Higher equity can make a property more attractive to the buyers and lenders. Yes, because the higher the equity is, the bigger the profit. Right? Meaning, mataas ang acquisition, ang appreciation niya. Because you buy it today 1 million, after 5 years it's no longer 1 million. It's 2.5. So you got 1.5 equity right there. So when you heard people talking about equity, those people are really want to be millionaires or already millionaires. Liens. Now they call it liens over there. It's their definition of a legal claim placed on a property by a lender or a condition or a creditor. When the owner owes money, liens must usually be paid before the property can be sold. Yes. For example, there are two ways actually. It's the same thing right here. So if I'm gonna buy you, if you have a property that you have liens or utang, kumbaga in the Philippines, Filipino word. So if you have utang like tax liens or what else, mortgage, you have 500,000 um, loan in the bank, and you want to sell it 1 million. So before I'm gonna buy it to you, I want you or that lien should be paid off first because I'm gonna be on a bad situation or bad position if I'm gonna buy it and there's still loan, right? So either way, there's a strategy. Either I'm gonna buy it to you 500 only because I'm gonna pay that 500 half in the bank, or you're gonna pay it off first and I'm gonna buy it to you, I mean from you, 1 million. Make sense, right? Yes. Okay. It matters because properties with liens can be harder to sell, of course. As buyers or you as an investor, if you are an investor, you may need to cover the lien amount to clear, like what I said, um, to approach right there. Wholesalers needs to know if a property has liens to negotiate effectively. So that's why every cold caller can ask that. Why do you need to sell the property, if I may ask? Okay. Are you currently living in the property? Is there liens or is it mortgage? So that's one of those filtering motivation. you know, of the seller. So distress properties. Distressed properties, like I said, those ugly or not good looking or poor condition, facing foreclosures. Owners needs to sell quickly because they're in a financial hardship. Divorce, yes, there's also potential because once they divorce, they don't want to be remember. They don't want to remember the memories, the moments. So they don't want to be, in that moment that they can remember their ex, and they get hurt. So they want to sell it. Example: a home in foreclosure, a vacant property in disrepair, or a home owned by someone behind a mortgage payment. Yes, these are all distressed properties. And of course, why it matters, because properties are often sold at a discount. And these kind of properties are really low price. Really low price, yes. It's very attractive for investors or wholesalers who can buy them cheap and flip it, flip, flip the properties or upgrade, resell, rebuild before they can resell it to make a profit. Okay, so this, the in a summary, equity is, I mean, shows the owner's stake and potential value in the property, and the liens is the debts, the mortgage against the property that needs to be resolved, needs to be paid off. Distressed properties are those are in foreclosures or undervalued or um, not so good to look at or unrepaired, not well maintained. Okay, I think that's that's for today. One of the intensive module one, real estate cold calling mastery, the wholesaling or wholesalers in the U.S. So let's gonna start our Q&A. Okay, so this is the moment that you can shoot me or chat right there in the chat box all those questions that you have, all those like topics that we did not probably discuss. This is your time. It's Q&A portion. Now you can start asking me. Looking for leads, do we have specific tools for that? Yep, that's a very good question, Vince. There are tools looking for leads. They call it no, sorry, scraper, data scraper tools. Most investors, they no longer using it because they're gonna buy calling list or leads from calling list sellers or calling list provider, either online or there's people that they know from the networking event. And then some of the wholesalers right now, they have scraping tools that they can buy, but it's gonna take some time kasi pa din eh. Even though they have the tools, they have to operate it. It's taking time for them to extract leads from either Google or a different website or online directory. But that's a good question. Thank you so much, Vince. Are we the ones responsible for looking for leads, or does the client provide them? Yeah, as a cold caller, there is, but on the real estate wholesalers, they usually have their own calling list. But there are other people who doesn't have maybe enough money or budget. You can do your own way of getting leads. You search online, you can go to rent.com or realtor.com or I forgot the other one that you know for sale by owner website and foreclosure website. You can check into Google for sale properties in New York or something like that. That's the other ways of doing it if you don't have leads. But most sellers, or oh, sorry, most wholesalers, they usually have their own calling list. Do most clients provide cold calling scripts to their VAs? Most of them, yes. And and they do have their own generic cold calling script. However, it is also important that you have gone through trainings, especially like this, for you to understand what's the business really all about. Because if you depend on you as a cold caller, if you depend on the cold calling script or guide, if the seller or the prospect were going to object you or shoot you or stop you with a different question or objections, which is out of the blue, most likely you wouldn't know how to respond to it. So sometimes, I mean, most of the time, VAs would be caught off guard. The cold callers, will be caught off guard. So it's very important for you to know, to have, foundation or training like this. But yeah, they most of them provide, and then but some of them, there are also some of them that doesn't have, and most of those doesn't have scripts. They wanted to hire very experienced cold calling VAs, because it would save them time and money, of course, rather than buying. Because scripts, actually, guys, there are scripts that's being bought or being sold online. It's for sale. So what do you think is biggest challenge as a cold caller as per experience? Yeah. Actually, the one of the biggest experience, challenge, one of the biggest challenges in the cold calling, based on my experience, this is based on my experience, is when the wholesaler would go into, like, what you may call this, impose and tell you that I'm going to hire you, and the requirement is 3 leads a day. The requirement. That's actually impossible. It's not gonna happen. If it's gonna happen, that's a fluff. That's a fake. There's gonna be a fake leads right there. There always be. Because me myself, I'm a cold caller from different niches already. Either you can get one in a day, or sometimes you get 3, sometimes you get none. That's why the mindset is very important in this kind of job, because all you have to do is just keep going, numbers game, numbers attempt, for you to have, for you to have that performance at the end of the week. Thank you for that question, Maddie and Vince. Thank you. Yep. Any more questions? You're welcome. So that's why it's very important for the VA to understand that when the wholesalers, they're gonna start saying, this is the requirement, I'm gonna pay you this high, I'm gonna pay you $6, I'm gonna pay you $7 an hour, but the requirement is this: 4 leads a day. If you hear that, guys, you run. Otherwise, you can still take the job, but be ready that they're gonna blame you, because they're gonna put everything, the results, on you. So those are red flags, clients. Okay, now since you don't have any questions, um, the cold calling virtual assistant training is one of the very lucrative, very lucrative income in the outsourcing or in the home base era nowadays, or VA, virtual assistant industry. Why? Most of the time, will it be an hourly rate per project or commission based? Now, thank you for asking that question, Vince. I like that. Now, most of the time, for legit, it should be hourly. But for those kind of, shrewd or a little bit shady business or clients, they're gonna do commission based. And commission based, they're gonna drain you out. They imagine you spend your internet, you spend your power, your electricity, your effort, and your energy. And if you don't have sale in a day, you don't have pay, or you don't have leads in a day, you don't have pay, right? So it's just doesn't make um, fair sense. But there are people like that. There are people like that. They were gonna tell you, you don't have a growth mindset, you don't have the positive mindset, blah blah blah, because they're gonna convince you that they are correct on their own way of unfair advantage. So that's why if you're a beginner, let's say you're really a beginner, that's fine. You can take that kind of offer. But once you get to, just get to have yourself or make yourself comfortable on the job, of course, you wouldn't stay longer in that kind of client that would pay you only commission based, right? There are niches, or there are cold calling jobs that would work with that kind of approach, the payment scheme, but most of the time it won't. It won't. I've been there. I tried that. It won't. Now, per project, yeah, there are per project. Like, for example, I'm the client and I will go tell you, Vince, I have 2,000 calling list. I need you to call this in 2 days and I'm gonna pay you 150. May mga ganon. So if that's the case, then if you think you're a very fast cold caller, then you can take your chance. But you gotta be ready also, and be aware that if you won't be able to provide result, there may be a chance they won't gonna pay you. Otherwise, you're gonna ask them to pay in advance. And if you get the pay in advance and you did not deliver the result, be ready that your name will be probably plugged out there, and they're gonna advertise your name that you're a shady VA, you're a scammer VA, something like that. So that's why it's one way or the other, there's still an unfair advantage right there. Are the client's leads also recycled? There are, yes, because most in the US every year, most people either change numbers or change properties or change addresses because of their job. So sometimes the owner of the property is no longer the same person, but yeah, they're gonna recycle. There are also clients that keep on buying leads. However, leads is always be the same, most likely always be the same. There are changes maybe after 3 years right there, but your leads few months, and if you're gonna call them after 3 months, that's still the same. They are still the same. However, if they will be able to recognize you that you're the one who keeps calling them, that's something that the wholesalers strategy kind of comes in, that they still have to be tweaked, maybe changed with but that's a different topic. So, but yeah, there are also recycled um calling leads or calling list. Thank you, Vince. You're welcome. Okay, so everybody, thank you again for your time. Now we have this module 2 to 8 of training. Is very intensive. This is free ones. And then I want to know, I want to hear your side about the training. Have you learned something? Was it able to, did we dissect it? Were you able to understand what wholesaler is, or what wholesaling process, or what wholesaling business is in the US real estate? Can you type 1 if you totally understand? And if you have still few more that's not clear to you, type 2. Okay, awesome. You can shoot me directly later, or you can message Mr. VA coach right there if you need additional explanation. Okay, so guys, now most of why cold calling is one of the lucrative income as a VA in the virtual assistant or home base in the Philippines, because you don't have a lot of things in an admin task, job or task, or dues, because what you need to do is just get to your dialer, start calling, and the dialer will automatically those or ring all of those numbers, and all you have to do is just wait right there if somebody's answering your call. Once it's being answered, you document your call and then submit it to the CRM. If it's a lead or not, put it in your notes and keep moving. And move on to the next call. So it's easier. And then you can have two or even three clients at the same time, depending on your bandwidth. So first 1/3 of the day, the next 2/3 of the day, and the last 3/3 of the day. You can have that different clients with different rates. It could be higher, all of them are higher, or one way or the other, higher or lower, but you're still going to get more, right? So that's why it's easier, and it's easier for you to scale as well whenever you need to. Now, we have a paid training. Let me advertise, because this training is recorded actually, and this is free for now. This is a train the trainer approach. So we'll be having this record training online, but it will be paid. So right now, because you guys are the pioneering, and thank you, we appreciate you. We're gonna have this for payment or paid training soon. Now we're gonna have let me introduce you. If you want to have like other cold calls that we have earning 60,000, 40, or even 100. So we have this next train that we have that we'll be announcing. But um, if you are willing, so this is what you will get on this training. This is our mastery, cold calling mastery. You'll be know how be able to, how you will be able to use dialer. So you're gonna give that's worth 1.9, and role playing, of course. And then strategies and techniques in cold calling. Direct access to me, of course, you're gonna have a direct access to me as your coach. Just set a schedule with my calendar right there, and then we can have a 30 minutes online session, and you can ask me anything you want to ask, either about your life, your strategy, and everything. So that's the value right there, guys. Rebuttal game techniques and strategies, and overcoming your call anxiety and building confidence. Of course, you will have an opportunity to work with me or build a partnership together. Total work for that is around 40,280. But for early bird today, or for this past days before the launch, that's our rate, paying only 3,240. So what can you say about, you have questions about these offer, guys? If you don't have questions, type 1. If you do, ask question right away before we end the training. Launch for this one is December 7, so before December 7, because we're targeting that people will be able to start third week of December, and then January they'll be able to find their client. Starting new life in 2025, getting a new version of themselves, at the same time earning bigger than what they currently have. Yeah, any questions? And then there's gonna be an elite group of this people who paid this training, guys. So there's gonna be an exclusive Facebook community. And then that's a community where everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to support you and make you earning big. Bawal ang nega, no negativity community. And if there is, we're going to ban them, remove them, and even penalize them if need be. Yeah, it's gonna be live something like this. Yes, Vince, it's gonna be live something like this. And then uh aside from that, there's a freebies every now and then. There's a lot more on the opportunities, and then tokens will be given out. Training schedule would be most likely Saturdays. Probably Sundays, but target usually Saturdays because that's most people are, available. We're gonna post it on, I don't know if all of you are in the page or in the group, Mr. VA Coach. Is everybody in the group, Mr. VA Coach? Type 1 if you are in. Okay. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna post right there later, or you can message the page directly and for the process of payment. Just only either Gcash or bank transaction. Okay, so guys, before we're going to end the training, let's take a photo. Can we have everybody's camera? Let's take a photo, just a quick photo. Is everybody in Cagayan de Oro or different place? Oh, okay. So yeah, anyways, let me take a photo of this one. There you go. Okay. Let's take wait. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Bye, Vince. Bye, Maddie. Bye, Cherry. Thank you, everybody. Hope to see you soon, and let's do the training and for you to have a 2025 bigger income. Bye, everybody. God loves you. Bye.